you have the you have the literature review. From the literature review, you will be able to identify the problem and the research gap. Okay, now, okay, so let me explain to you. Now, you see now here, this is your literature review, right? This is the latest one.
Yes.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, yes, I can.
Okay, all right. Okay, now, so you start with, okay, now, so let us look at the topic. All right, so the topic is, last time I proposed to you the domain is a smart manufacturing. Right now, you put here smart manufacturing and the Internet of Things. Okay, so what is the research element there? Here, there is no research element here. It's just, you know, just a research topic without any direction. Smart manufacturing is a broad term. You can talk, you can do research in the context, in these, in the context of computer science. You can do in the context of engineering, electrical engineering. You can do in the context of medical engineering, material engineering, chemical engineering. So it's a broad term, right? So you have to narrow it down. Okay, now let's say computer science. So what is the context of the computer science here? Like I said, I think I gave you a few suggestions in the email. It could be, and then let's say you want to talk about into the context of, in computer science, and as we know, computer science can be divided into many areas. It could be networking, it could be security, it could be, AI, what else? There are many programming language and so on. So let's say AI, let's say. So then you further narrow it down because AI is a broad term as well. Okay, so it could be machine learning, it could be knowledge-based technique, it could be knowledge representation. So there are many areas, optimization, there are many areas in artificial intelligence. Now, let's say you want to narrow it down to machine learning. So machine learning still is a broad term, right? It could be what? Detection. It could be classification, regression, unsupervised learning. Under unsupervised learning, we have clustering. We have data generation using deep learning. What else? So there are many areas that you can explore. Still, you have to narrow it down. So I think last time I suggested to you, let's say, detection, anomaly detection, right? Now, anomaly detection, you have to further narrow it down because anomaly detection is still a broad term because there are many methods under anomaly detection. So you have to go deep into it. You have to dive deep into the methods. Right? So that's how you do a proper literature review. Right? So it cannot be just like, so I don't want to talk about Internet of Things because here, this is also another broad thing, another broad term. Okay, so there are many things that we can explore here. Okay, so let's say we just focus on this one. Okay, and Internet of Things could be the sensing approach. Okay, sensing approach using sensors and so on. The the connection, the network of these sensors. All right, now let us look at your literature review here. Okay, so you give definition of smart manufacturing. Why you want to give definition? It's just basically you can just put smart manufacturing. Okay, that's fine if you just give an overview about smart manufacturing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but then still here this is not sufficient. I mean, like so this is just like very surface, very very. You have to talk in the context of AI later on because you want to talk about, let's say you want to focus on AI, right? So,
Yes.
but then still, this is acceptable, let's say. Okay, then you
Mm-hmm.
give the overview of Internet of Things. Okay, so here, then suddenly you jump to Internet of Things. Right? So this is not, there is no continuation here. So it seems to me like out of nowhere, we have Internet of Things here. As you know, in the literature review, you have to start from a broad term, a topic, a research topic. And towards the end of the chapter, this chapter is talking about a very specific area. or field, if you want to call it. So you start from the smart manufacturing, then you have to direct your chapter towards AI, and then you narrow it down further towards machine learning. So your section 1, 2.1 is about the introduction. 2.2 smart manufacturing. 2.3 might be about, let's say you want to talk about the sensing approach. Let's say if you want to talk about, let's say in section 2.2, probably you give some examples of what would be the smart manufacturing and the source of data. It could be camera, it could be vision, it could be video, it could be sensors, it could be what. Then if you want to narrow it down to sensors, then you might want to talk about sensing approaches, types of sensors. Then you have to start talking about the method, which is the anomaly detection. Let's say you want to talk about anomaly detection. So, but then in the previous section, you have to talk about what are the application of smart manufacturing. Then you can relate it to the anomaly detection. So what are the methods under anomaly detection? So you have to talk about, let's say, supervised learning, unsupervised learning. This is just an overview still, because this is just a broad. Because we want to direct our readers to this, supervised learning and unsupervised learning. So let's say you want to focus on supervised learning. What are the supervised learning methods for anomaly detection? You have to talk, let's say, there could be like, support vector machine, decision tree. So these are the traditional one. Let's say the recent one, the current trend is neural network. So then you have to talk about neural network, right? And neural network, is a broad term because there are many methods under neural network. So then you might want to talk about deep learning. So what are the methods for anomaly detection or deep learning? Might be CNN, it could be RNN. So you have to review all these papers. It's not just, but when you review, you have to talk about the methods, right? Then lastly, it might be, autoencoder, right? So let's say these are the methods. But then still, this is not state of the art. The next section, you have to talk about the state of the art for anomaly detection. The recent papers, the state of the art, right? 2023, 2024. So what are the methods? Okay, so when you review the methods, you have to explain the methods, how the method solve the anomaly detection, or do the anomaly detection, how it works. Okay, and then you have to review, you have to talk about the limitation of the method. Don't just talk about the method, that's it. That is not literature review. So you have to talk about the limitation of the method, right? From the limitation, so this is basically when you review, let's say there are 10 papers, recent papers, 2024, about anomaly detection related to deep learning, for example, let's say. Then, so there are limitations in these 10 papers. Limitation. So you have to do a critical analysis. You have to understand the method, and then you have to identify what is the limitation. So then you explain the limitation. So this is the research gap. So this is basically, then you can talk about the research problem. Research problem normally is a little bit wide. Because you have to give because the research problem can be, we can categorize it, right? We can categorize it somehow. Okay? So you have to talk about the taxonomy of the method. But then the research gap is the limitation. Okay. So once you have this research gap, then only after that you think about how to solve this. How to solve this problem, how to solve this, how to address, how to bridge this research gap. So that would be your chapter 3, which is the methodology. Okay? It doesn't have to be in details. But some idea, because this is just a proposal stage. So you need to have some idea how to solve this, how to address this research gap. So then you talk about your chapter 3. You write your chapter 3. So when you write your chapter 3, you have to consider also the data set, how to evaluate the performance, of the proposed method. So all this from the papers, from your literature review. So when you do your literature review, you should also know about the data set that the researchers are using. So that's why you can write after you do literature review, then only you can write your chapter 3, because from there you have to write about the data set, like I said just now, the method and how to evaluate the proposed method. So once you finish your chapter 3, then you come back to chapter 1. In chapter 1, then you can start your introduction, because now you have the understanding of your research. Chapter 1 you won't be able to write chapter 1 if you don't do your literature review and your chapter 3. Because chapter 1 is basically like the overall of the whole thesis. Chapter 1 is about the introduction, the background study. Okay, then you see here, I gave you one example, right? From my previous student thesis. So you have to talk about this is not needed. Study rationale, importance of the study. This is not. You can remove all this, right? It doesn't have to be there. You can talk about background is important there. Then motivation if you want. Then straight away you go to problem statement. The problem statement has to be from the literature review, like I said. Then the aim. Sorry. Then after problem statement, there is a missing section there. Research question. From the problem statement, you need to derive your research question. So research question has to be from the problem statement. And problem statement, like I said just now, has to be from literature review. Okay? So that's why I said you have to do literature review first. Okay, so once you have the research question, then you have your research objective. Okay, so your research objective is basically what you want to propose. This is not a research objective. What you want to propose, and whatever that you want to propose is addressing the research gap just now. Can you see the cycle here? The interconnection between all these chapters, right? So normally we have 3 objectives. That means 3 research contribution, 3 novelty. So you need to identify 3 research gap, and because you need 3 research objectives. All these 3 research objectives address the research gaps just now from the literature review. Okay? For a PhD thesis, you need 3 research contributions. So you won't be able to select.